This week's episode of the second season of Power Book IV Force is about to reach its midpoint, and it has already been a very busy one. The death of Walter Flynn, a figure portrayed by none other than Tommy Flanagan, has thus far been the most significant event. Vic Flynn, who killed him, is now collaborating with law enforcement to bring Tommy Egan and his sister to justice. However, he is hesitant to do the latter. Diamond is standing by Tommy's side as they work together to lead CBI as he moves ahead with his goal to take control of the Chicago market. This season of Power Book IV Force has seen a lot of activity. Here are the anticipated episode numbers to indulge in this episode. Tommy Egan and Myria about Chicago in the 4th episode of Season 2, The Devil's in the Details, as he successfully courted her for a date. Tommy had promised to give Myria a driving lesson as soon as she was ready, so that was where it all began. She needed a moment to adjust to driving, but soon she was zipping about the city like a pro. After that, Tommy and Myria went on a date to the zoo, which was mostly enjoyable. However, there was one part when Tommy was attacked by a member of the Rojas crew in the zoo's restroom. The Rojas member was easily handled by Tommy, who then resumed his meeting with Myria. Later that day, they got back in touch at Tommy's place, where they shared a supper, a dance, and most importantly, a kiss. This week, other people besides Tommy also found love for themselves. Leon's mother looks to be a good fit for Diamond because she appreciates her son's boxing lessons with Diamond. D-Mac gets a date with an old flame from his school days, and it appears that he might be willing to chop off his locks in order to win her over. This episode's positives outweigh its negatives, with Tommy and Diamond's gang not feeling the love as much as federal authorities intensify their inquiry into Chicago's drug and gang operations. As a result, several members of the CBI team are detained, forcing Tommy and Diamond to immediately devise a plan of action to prevent this from happening again. In addition, the Chicago police officer who has been intimidating and blackmailing Tommy since the start of Power Book IV Force is back. Diamond grudgingly pays the cop the requested $50,000, after which he demands another $25,000 from her. D-Mac killed the officer during a meetup for that second payment when he entered the room and saw the officer pointing a gun at Diamond and Tommy. D-Mac may have saved their lives, but they are all in a terrible mess now on their hands. In other parts of the show, Gernard's crew chaos reaches new heights after learning of Lil K's passing. Many members of his crew leave and use their abilities elsewhere after he subsequently acknowledges that he was the one who killed Lil K in order for them to devise a strategy to assassinate their father, a purpose they share despite their differences. Claudia establishes a deal with the Serbs and manages to win Vic back to her side. Here are the top 5 power players based on the Devils in the Details episode of Power Book IV Force now that you are up to speed on what transpired this week. Claudia 5. After a few weeks, Claudia eventually climbed the power players rankings. After Walter and Vic made amends in order to resume their employment, she was excluded from the Flynn family business for the majority of the season. She manages to work out a deal with the Serbs to kill Walter in this week's episode, and she also involves Vic, who unwillingly decides to collaborate with his sister to kill his father. Claudia had to put out a lot of work to enter the top 5, but she succeeded, albeit by a small margin. All that is yet to be seen is what she does moving forward and how effective they are. 4. D-Mac. D-Mac has long wanted to return to the streets, but his father JP and Uncle Tommy have both told him emphatically that he is to stay far away from the streets. D-Mac pays attention to his father and uncle most of the time, but it is obvious that his days of listening are almost gone when he stole their rifle from a drawer at home. D-Mac had some amusing moments in this episode while we wait for it to happen. As the Devils and the Details came to an end, he earned a date with a lady he went to school with. This gave him a spring in his step, but this episode didn't conclude with a glance at his date. Instead, it ended with D-Mac executing the Chicago policeman who had been intimidating and extorting Diamond from the beginning of the episode after he was seen pointing a gun at Diamond and Tommy. The gunshot did demonstrate that Tommy is a sharpshooter when it comes to the streets and the girls, and that's a win in our books even though it may create a messy scenario for Diamond and Tommy. Myria 3. Let's extend a hearty welcome to Myria, ladies and gentlemen. Although his initial attempts to get her attention fell flat, Tommy has had his eyes on her for the whole of this season. She finally gave him a chance, and thus far, she's been glad she did. Thanks to Tommy's desire to instruct her and his patience with her, she was able to learn how to drive. Later, they went on a date and he brought food from one of her favorite places. They even danced and kissed. She took a gamble on Tommy, and it seemed to have paid off for her. Myria appears to have found love, which we are big fans of here. In addition, Myria finds herself in a good position next to Tommy because Tommy is one of Chicago's major drug dealers, if not the biggest. Diamond 2. Diamond comes in at No. 2, slipping a little from the top spot. After being harassed and threatened for the majority of the show's 2 seasons, he was ultimately able to escape the Chicago cops' control. His liberation, however, wasn't the result of his own efforts. D-Mac was in charge of that. In fact, Diamond was on the verge of losing another $25,000 to the police after previously losing $50,000 to them. Nevertheless, he is liberated and appears to be paying attention to a new woman. When Leon's mother visits Diamond's barbershop to ask if he's serious about the lessons, she introduces Diamond to his mother after he offers to teach Leon how to box. There seems to be a spark between the two, which may bode well for their future relationship. We're big fans of love around here, as I've already indicated. 1. Tommy. Tommy is back on top after achieving his goal of getting a kiss from Myria. It took numerous efforts to bring her out on a date, teaching her to drive, getting meals from her favorite restaurant, and uncomfortably dancing for a while, but that kiss made it all worthwhile. The majority of this week's program is devoted to his day with Myria, but we also get to witness Tommy run his crew and conduct business. He eliminates a Rojas crew member who attempted to attack him and the crew. He accidentally encounters a police raid on his gang and sets up the burner distribution right away. The remaining crew members spoke via phones to thwart police tracking attempts. Finally, and perhaps most significantly, he doesn't let his time with Myria prevent him from taking care of what he needs to. Tommy is aware that the stakes are too high to let any deterrence stand in the way. However, Tommy is also aware that it's acceptable to take pleasure in the things and people in this life. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.